and with the host, Thomas Trey. I bet. Oh, nah, that's not even like a try take. Like I'm just like running it back to my. Come on.
What's up? I'm Miguel. Fuck.
What's up? It's Shaun here.
And you tuned into
The Rejuv-Nation podcast.
Hosted by your boy, Timeless.
Oh, my God.
Check. Okay. All right. It's fucking lit. The fuck?
Are you gonna bleep that out?
No. You don't believe about shit on here.
we don't be about nothing.
Nothing.
You know, you just use a cough button. You feel me?
And the kids was like, "Could we curse?" And they ain't cursing, bro. Shit was funny, bro.
All right, y'all tuned into the Rejuv-Nation podcast hosted by your boy Timeless Trail. We are back again, and we got my guys. I don't know if y'all want me to introduce the goats or if y'all want to do it.
Bad.
You do it.
Yo, Ike, you gotta relax. All right, cool. So, got my guy Miguel. What up?
It's good.
See, that's why you should have came last. You should have been.
What was I supposed to say?
He said it was good.
Yo. All right, got my boy Ike.
Yo, what up?
Drop them bars, Ike.
Oh, word? We're doing this right now?
Just one-
We're saving that. We're saving that.
We got
It's rare.
this man that we about to announce just got signed to the Rock for photography. Clap it up. What's up? Whoa, Shaun.
Stop, man. Thank you for having me, man.
21. What up, fellas?
What's up, man?
What up?
How y'all doing today?
All right.
Can't
Staying
complain.
warm.
Word. So, like I was telling y'all earlier, you know, this podcast is about bringing the raw and the uncut. You feel what I'm saying? I want to talk about not only yourselves, but we definitely want to dive into a lot about what's going on in the culture and the thing that we claim to love in a sense. So, first I want to get kind of started into letting the people know who you are. So, if y'all want to go clockwise, counterclockwise, it don't matter.
Got it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Word. Well, I'm Shaun. Aspiring music photographer here.
Wait, before you continue, is it Shaun or 21?
My name is Shaun.
No, I know what your name is, bro.
Now, where the 21 thing came from, like, I used to play sports. So in college, I wore number 21.
Uh-huh.
And my coach would just say, yo, 21. That was before 21 Savage came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what people used to call me when I used to wear that, like, jersey number. So that's where that whole thing came from.
So are you going to retire that and just go with Shaun? Because 21 is fire.
For, like, my Instagram and, like, social media purposes, I put my name on it now so people can find me better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still on my bio and stuff like that. But, yeah.
21, you to
Shaun.
go. All right. I'm sorry, Shaun. Continue. Continue messing the way.
But, yeah, man. Aspiring music photographer here in Connecticut. You know, just trying.
Mm-hmm. And when you say trying, like, I think you're speaking too, like you're dumbing it down a little bit too much.
I'm dumbing it down because, like, in a sense where I could say I'm a music photographer, but half the time, well, I'd say 90% of the time when I'm shooting, I'm not supposed to be.
Okay.
So, you know, I just, you know, try to keep it simple, but, like, I'm trying to be a music photographer. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it in that sense.
Okay, cool. I respect it. Ike?
What's up?
Drop it. Who are you?
Cool. It's your boy Ike.
Yo! You came in with the midnight love. Yo, it's your boy Ike.
Late night with Lisa Reynolds. I'm gonna have a collab with her, but not director, photographer. Yeah,
That nigga. Say it. That nigga. Uh-huh.
I do a few different things.
Okay.
So
Okay.
That's what it's there for.
Mix it
I
up.
forget to use that. What's good?
What up?
I'm Miguel. I'm a aspiring music photographer too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a little different than him. Like 90% of the time, I am supposed to be shooting. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's sneaking. I'm usually not. I usually get my passes, but I mean, we always working to try to, like, you know, either get passes for both of us, or, you know what I'm saying, we getting in one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, we feed off each other, doing that type of stuff. But yeah, like, it got its pros and cons both ways. Like, you know, when you shooting, when you have a pass, sometimes your you know, your credentials don't get you, like, in a great spot.
Uh-huh.
But you know, when you like sneaking your stuff in, you're like in the crowd,
Yeah.
you get a better angle. And sometimes it's the opposite, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, so like I'm aspiring too. I want to do everything, like, you know, portraits, all that stuff. Just practicing, like, you know, I'm working to try to get better. I do a lot of magazine work. I shoot
Well,
mostly.
we gonna talk about that.
Yeah, so I shoot mostly for Respect Magazine.
Mhm.
I do contribute to other publications.
Yeah.
But right now I do majority of my work for Respect Mag, and based in New York.
Right. So the question I have for y'all, because I heard aspiring a couple times.
Mhm.
What is the definition, like, to you guys? What's aspiring? Because to me, from the outside looking in, you guys are doing it. So I call you photographers. To the people that look up to you guys are also doing it. But to you, you're like, I'm still trying to become what it is. So what? Why aren't you saying that you are that yet?
Well, like, you got people that get paid to do this. Like, this is such a oversaturated, you know, profession now.
Right.
Even a couple years ago, it wasn't.
Right.
But it is now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because everybody wants to do it. Like, when you get a pass, you get in for free.
Right.
You get closer than front row.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, you love music, you love photography, you put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, everybody wants to do it to the point where they're willing to do it for free.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the goal is to try to get so good, or, you know, get in somewhere where, like, either you don't even need credentials, like, they know you, like, you know, they calling you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, yo, pull up.
Mm-hmm.
Or just to get paid to do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll come do it, but, you know, this is what I need.
Right. So that's the difference. Go ahead. Were you about to say something? So that's the difference between aspiring and being.
Yeah.
It's like being recognized on like that level, on like that main playing field. So when you go out, it's not like you're not getting brushed over and getting pushed out by security and things like that.
Right. So I was Bria Simone had and DJ Michi had a Ready Talk in New Haven a couple months ago, and they had Chris Brown up there. He's a senior vice president, I believe, of like Sony or something like that. I don't want to misconstrue. That might not be his title, but I think that is.
Mhm.
But he was saying that the difference between aspiring and being is, if you're still working a job and you're saying that you're this, you're aspiring to be that. The
Right.
moment that you don't have another like financial backing what you say you are, is the moment that you are what you say you are.
Exactly.
And that shit hit me hard. I was like, damn, this whole time.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Because and a lot of us, I don't not only in Connecticut, but a lot of us in general, like, I feel like they're scared to say that they work, like they have a 9 to 5, and they're still trying to have a 5 to 9. Like, I have a job, I'm employed.
I have a full-time job. Like,
Yeah.
Yo,
Same.
first off, yo,
bro, like, it's nothing
crazy.
wrong with that either. Like, there's a lot, like, Instagram makes that such a like frowned upon thing, or like even people's age, like, you know, people that's 21 or 19, like,
yeah.
they just feel like they have to be that age to like do something creative or like pursue something like that. Well, that's not the case. Like,
Well, and let's even talk about the people who be like, if you're too old, like, I hate that shit so much. Like, there's so much talent out here, and the minute you hit like a certain age, everyone looks at you like, oh, you're like washed or something. I'm like, that.
yeah, like my favorite photographers are 28 and 30. Like,
Right.
So I'm not like worried about nothing.
Some of my favorites are 50.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, for real. Like, work for Getty Images and stuff. Like,
You would think that the older you are, the more knowledgeable and the more respected you are. I feel like we're the only like hip hop. The hip hop culture is the only like generation, or the only like demographic that puts a limit on how successful you could be based on how old you are. And I don't understand where that came from.
They try to make it like sports in that way. So it's just like you get to a certain age bracket, and it's like that's your prime, and then once you get past that, like in sports, you get past 30, they're looking at you like you're washed up,
Right.
even though you still might have that, like still have that juice.
Facts. Okay, so the next question I have for you guys is, what made you get into this? Like, what made you say, I want to hold a camera and do this? Pause. Wow, that was crazy. I'm sorry, man. I just had to catch myself. Yo, for real, why ain't snacks for the man?
well, it was just like, it was like basically what I told you earlier. Like, you know what I'm saying? You love music, you love shooting, you just put, you know, one and one together. You know what I mean? I started, my first show ever was pretty big. Like, yo, I shouldn't have had a camera in there type of shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Schoolboy Q, French Montana, 50 Cent, G Unit,
Yeah.
Remy Ma, Fat Joe, like Migos, all on like one stage in one afternoon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I just shot, like,
Yeah.
and like for my first time ever, I felt like it wasn't that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even now, I look like this wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I did I.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this straight for my first time. You know what I'm saying? Like I just had a camera. Like any tourist, I was in California when that happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With my first show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just have my camera with me, like just taking pictures of stuff. Like who knows when I'm coming back to LA?
Yeah.
And that's just how it happened. Then I came back to Connecticut. There was shows like in Toes and stuff, and it was already going. I just brought it in. I ain't have no issues. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Can we talk
that too?
So for photographers and videographers also, would you say Toes Place is a pivotal part of like growing as a career in Connecticut?
Yeah, if you from Connecticut, yeah.
Toes Place is a place to be.
Yeah,
I had to find out the hard way though, because like, shout out to Big Mike, but I remember emailing him about the Fab show. This was like the first like celebrity show I shot.
Right.
I pulled up to Toast Place and I like emailed him. Was like, hey, I'm here or whatever. I didn't get a response, so like I'm just standing outside. I'm thinking I'm stranded, but I just like, matter of fact, I got my ticket, so let me just get in line. And then when I got there to check, like I thinking they're gonna ask me why I have a camera, but they didn't say anything. They just let me right in. So I'm like, okay. And then I shot the show from there. And then I just kept going back to Toes, and it never said anything. Right. So to this day, I still go to Toes.
Toes never.
Like when I want to get some like quick practice in, or like just go to Toes real quick.
So you would say Toes and what else?
Toes.
I mean, that's the spot in Connecticut.
Yeah. Toes.
What about
Toes is the most lenient? Yeah.
Nah, see, like the shows like that usually usually require passes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Toes is the one place where you could go and they not gonna say nothing unless like the artist specifically say like, yo, no. You know what I'm saying?
That was like one time.
Yeah, that happened one time like to me too.
Who was it?
SZA for me.
Okay.
We ain't let that stop us though.
Yeah, we definitely got in here, but
still in there.
Word. So I guess we could just jump into like the setbacks. It sounds like that's kind of what we're going towards, anyways. So obviously, artists telling you that you can't record or photograph they shit. What else are some setbacks that you feel like you encounter in the Connecticut scene and when you travel? Maybe even if you got an opportunity to, like, you got to pass somewhere and then you got there and shit was just all like out of whack.
That happens all the time.
All the time.
So
because like when you get a pass, you think that you're good. Like you're in there, you're in the pit, you're great. But there's so many limits, and sometimes like at the Oakdale, for example, you'll get in, and then you spend majority of the show in the back, just sitting in like this lobby, and they'll bring you over the first 3 songs, and then right as you get into like a groove, you get a tap on the shoulder, and the dude's like, "Yo, you gotta come in the back now." Yeah. And then you're just there for the rest of the set, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be a little frustrating because it's like I could have just like snuck it in and just been cool
the whole time. Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like there's not really a perk, like you was talking about before. Miguel was talking about before. It's not always a perk to have in the past. Sometimes it's like it's overly restricted, and it's just like I could have just snuck my camera in and had free reign.
I feel like there's more of a thrill too when it's like without a
you gotta get creative with it. You gotta get creative.
Word.
You gotta go up there with confidence, and you gotta be creative. You gotta be able to like think on your feet.
You gotta act like you're supposed to be there.
For real.
And we are. So
I think because there's only one scenario where I've been with all 3 of you at one time, and that was Rolling Loud. The one when we was in Miami, that shit was bananas. But I believe you snuck your camera in there.
Nah, I went there as a spectator one year, and I was like, yo, I gotta shoot this. And then the year after, I ended up getting accepted on the media team, which was like a blessing. So, yeah, I ended up shooting that.
What's like before we get into the Rolling Loud situation, because we're definitely going to. That was a great experience. Before we dabble in there, what are like some requirements that some of these places need to verify you as a photographer?
It depends on your like you're getting your credentials based on your publication.
Okay.
This is the reason why like it's levels to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a XXL or something. You know, they're getting in everything.
Right.
But something small that you may not even have heard of before, it could be like huge in Connecticut, but because like it's in Connecticut, or you know, it doesn't have the amount of viewers or the circulation that XXL has, then you know, like that's the type of shit that gets in. You know, these don't. Right. It's so many publications that's trying to get in that you know, it's hard. Like something like Rolling Loud, like they just pick people. Like I don't really know. Like I haven't really heard of like too many publications getting in. Like that's different. Really like you know what I'm saying. But something like Governor's Ball or something in New York, like that. So they choose based on the size of your publication and like how much people is gonna see the you know, the whatever you're covering. You know?
Right. 90% of passes go to people that's like supposed to, like they don't just give out passes just because you're a good photographer. I mean, that may be the case for like a media team, like if you're shooting for like the festival itself. But if you're getting like a media pass, they want you to be shooting for somebody that can get them media. You know what I'm saying? So like they're looking for, like he said, they're looking for the biggest publications that can get them more traction to their event.
So the goal for you guys is to align yourself with the best publication, so you have the opportunity to go shoot these places, because in turn you get the photos and then they get the exposure.
Yeah, that's an option. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that or like finding like a publication that might not be as like major, because some of them are really niche and you can get into festivals just off the strength of that. So like the Smokers Club, they had that. Cannabis themed magazines, you had an upper edge, so you could get into that. But otherwise, it's like you might not be known, you might be overlooked. But sometimes it's like you got to make the most opportunity. So it's like if you're going above and beyond for a smaller publication, you can use it to your advantage, because it's like you're able to put out the content that you want. You're able to curate that and just kind of like have that sense of control. So depending on how good you do, you can bring views to them, and then to like parlay that into something bigger.
Can you Ike specifically? I remember that time we went to South by Southwest. Oh, yeah. What a great time that was. And I know you were working for a publication out there. Can you talk about how that setup was? Just because it seemed like you was like, yo, we got to be here, we got to be there. You had to schedule posts, but how did that come to be? Like,
shout out Greg.
Shout out to Greg. I don't even know who you are, but Greg shout you out.
Shout out Greg.
He's the owner of Modern Life magazine. He's been moving with that for a minute. So my first interaction with him was in 2016. They had reached out to do like a profile on me as a photographer, and that was really cool. And from there we had a connection, and that was also the first year they had Complex Con. So we had gotten an invite, we applied, and then parlay into something where we could just continue working. And then the next year was the South by Southwest. And since he's from Texas, he's from Houston, so he already has a huge network of people that he knows out there. He had a whole team of photographers, so he's just sending us events. We had like a chat group of like 20 photographers, and we had the whole calendar, like every flyer as it came out, he's getting direct links. And when I was saying earlier about like a smaller publication, it's like Modern Life Mag is a smaller publication, but in the underground world, it's like
big deal.
It's a big deal. And since he built up a good network of like people that he knows, so it's like that comes back. So it's like if you're connected, if you know people, they're gonna look out for you. So that's where it comes into play. Like these events want you to come out so you can give them content. If you're not giving them the content, they're not gonna hit you back. So if you're like with a bigger like outlet, there's always gonna be content. But if you're with a smaller one, sometimes things can get lost, and it's pivotal where you come in and just kind of give that out. So
shout out to like just rocking with you for the South by Southwest. That was the first time I saw Moneybag Yo. Yeah, like that shit was fire. Like who else was out there?
It was a rapper that you knew, like Dragon.
No,
my son.
No, the Dreads from the Crip dude from New Jersey.
Arsenal.
Yes, it was Arsenal and Cortez was out there.
Word.
Yeah, that was pretty fire. Yeah, shout out to them. That was dope. And they show love. Like I love going to like places like that, because that's the time where they don't act as Hollywood as if they were at a club. Like it's like everyone is like the even playing grounds. You know what I'm saying? Like South by Southwest, Ic3 from our first time this year. Just like I saw Coach K. Like I was able to chop it up with him. Like, and if you see him at a party or something, you're not gonna be able to. But he was literally, that shit was crazy. Like they had everyone move out of the parking lot for him to park his car and another car, and no one else could go in there. But like me, Shout out to Mike Flows. It was me, Mike, Jordan Rio, a couple other people. We were just smoking like on a bench and shit. And he popped out. He was like, "Yo, Coach K." He was like, "Yo, what up?" He was like, "What up?" Then that shit just kind of happened like that. But
they be regular people, bro.
For real,
they human.
That's the
regular
thing.
people. That's one thing that doing photography taught me is that celebs are regular people.
Regular.
They just found their niche, and that's what I be trying to tell people. Like a lot of people, like I feel like they put a lot of people on pedestals. So by putting them on a certain like level, when you meet them and they don't necessarily match what you envision them, you feel the like you got gypped. But in actuality, that's just how. Like I perceive us getting to the level that we want to be at. When we get to that level, we're gonna be the same individuals, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I don't feel like money or anything's gonna change. Well, I can speak for myself. I don't feel like money or anything's gonna change my personality or how I perceive things. Definitely. And I would hope that is whoever you are before the money is who you are after the money.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to talk about individual experiences with all y'all because I have at least 2 with everyone. So I'm gonna save you for last. So I'm gonna start with Shaun, I think. So Shaun, me and you always been cool, but you always been like the low like you always been like to yourself, like this to yourself type of individual. So like even when like the NBC clothing was out, like I know you were a part of that, but you were like behind the scenes, like you were there, but you weren't there. And I know I think you were still going to school and stuff at the same time, right?
Yeah. That's when they would, shout out to Dacian and like they were doing like the Moet Boy clothing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't really behind the scenes. They just did like a fashion show for her one day, and I like helped them like dress the models and stuff like that. That's when I was back in the like fashion.
Fashion.
Like, that's what got me into photography too.
Yeah,
so.
The fashion drip.
Yeah.
Fashion. Yeah. So fashion was your thing.
Yeah.
It's still your thing. It's still your thing.
Not really.
Not really. Nah. What made it like a back burner type of?
Just because like I want to invest more into my craft and stuff like that. So like buying all these clothes and stuff is like, pointless because I wear the same shit every day.
Yeah. But okay. So all right. So cool. Met you then officially, and then you got into photography, and then I would always support you at your events. Shout you out on Twitter, Instagram. You know the support. By the way, that's how you support people.
Yeah,
if no one knew, and Rolling Out was like where we actually like met up, built, chill, like we had breakfast at some weird ass spot.
That shit was good.
That
shit was good.
Low key.
That shit was a hit. You feel me? And look at you now, bro. You got can I see this? If no one got your own book.
Yeah,
shout out to I'm gonna just book 1.
Yeah, man. It's my first one.
That's the greatest cover ever.
Got a couple prints in here. You see this, Colin? Okay, got a couple prints in here. Some fire. I ain't gonna let you see all the heat, but if you want a copy, hit my man's because he got him.
Yo, link in the bio.
Links in the bio. No, hit my man. Hit the link in the bio.
The mixtape.
So let's talk about how you even came. How I know this was manifested, but how did you even come up with the art show that you came up with Dr. Visuals? How did that even come to be?
So yeah, I mean, main part of me shooting is I'm not supposed to like me starting out. I didn't really know the rules of like getting passes and stuff like that. So I was reaching out to everybody under the sun, and I was just getting a bunch of denies. Like, and then it just clicked into me like, yo, let me just get out there. Like, if I'm gonna just be at home getting denied, might as well just jump out there and try something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started going to Toe's place, started shooting there, and then just kept building from there. Like, I would buy a lot of tickets and stuff like that, and I would want to shoot. Shout out to my girlfriend, Iz.
Shout out to Iz.
Right there. She would go in the show first with the camera lens, and then I would go in after with the camera body.
Yeah.
So that's how I was shooting a lot of shows to start, illegally and stuff like that. So I was getting amazing content. That's how I really built my like catalog to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just came up with this idea for a book. A lot of photographers do books, so I just wanted to do a book. But the idea of it is to put all the photos in it that I wasn't supposed to shoot.
We can't accommodate. That's fire.
Yeah, that's the main point.
Subtle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the title of the book, and just wanted to really like, cause like a lot of like on Instagram, photography is like it's glorified and stuff like that. But I don't feel like there's a lot of photographers that do it illegally. Well, not illegally, but people who don't get the shine or the passes and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of them don't have a like their story isn't portrayed and stuff like that.
Right.
So I definitely want to be one of those photographers that show the other side of the
Can you give me a top 3 photographers right now?
Top 3.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite right now, I'd have to say Ravy B, of course.
Shout out to Ravy.
Definitely a big influence.
Killing it right now.
Definitely. I like Puff's photographer too. His name's Kaido, I think, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Third, I would say Greg Noir for sure.
Oh, okay, word. Yeah, he's fire too.
Yeah, definitely. All of them inspire me, definitely for sure.
Would you even touching base with Ravy, like she's killing the game right now. Like she's everywhere and she's doing a lot. And the thing that I like about her life story is she's also showing her life within the story, like within the photography, within like how she's moving. Like she has a core support system. Is that something similar to like the lifestyle that you would want to live, or like do you have that mapped out yet?
Definitely, but I feel like story isn't the same, but I feel like I'm kind of the opposite of her. Because she was at Made in America one year. What year was it? Yeah, she was at Made in America one year, and like she had like access to shoot like Jay and shit like that. But I'm in the crowd shooting Jay.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I feel like not on her level, but I feel like I'm the opposite kind of like. I'm like she's the person like that's in not in the spotlight, but she's being glorified as like a professional photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the flip side, like in the crowd, just trying to get it. But I like that. I like both sides of the story. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to show my side of the story too.
Facts. Ike,
what's up?
All right, so your story. I've known you forever now. I feel like, damn, we've been better for a minute. But I think the biggest story that I always tell people when we have similar like mutual friends is when you saved my life at.
We got
Rolling Loud.
Yeah.
Yo. Bruh, hold on.
That was wild.
First off, we are high as fuck. I just want to start that from the beginning. We are super high. I'm just going with the flow. I'm vibing. Ike's like, yo, let's go to the front. I'm like, yo, I never been to the front before. Fuck it, let's try it. Run to the front. I literally got to the front. I couldn't move. It's so crazy up there. Like, it was like my body was getting lifted by other people.
I definitely got lifted. It's crazy.
Yo, I was so high, I fell. Like, I fell. And like all I see is all these like feet about to stomp me out, and I just
it's a different beast up there, man.
Yo, all I see is like soon as the feet coming, I just see whole like the sky, and Ike is just throwing people like left and right, and he's like, "Yo, come on!" And he like
it's like a Call of Duty mission.
Yo, I'm like, yo, how the fuck did you just get all that strength to move all these people? And I owe you my life, bro. That was a good time, though.
Facts. The wild thing is that it was a Joey Badass mosh pit.
It was.
And it wasn't even to like a mosh pit song. It was something like, I think it was like,
I don't know. Niggas was just wilding. Niggas was wilding.
I think that's probably the best Rolling Out to date.
The first, the Miami
I think that was the best
one.
one.
That was the best one.
That shit was definitely better than last year.
Yeah. So, Ike, now we're talking about you. So, like, what's your thing? Like, what's your goal, your mindset, your inspirations? Like,
so my main thing when I got into it was photography, and then it gravitated into getting into the video side.
Okay.
And video was always like a thing I've been fascinated by. I love movies and just like capturing movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just found myself shooting a music video. They were like, "Yo, shoot him!" Like, nah, I'm not trying to do this.
Yeah.
And then the first video was type trash.
Trash. Yeah.
You ain't gonna find it on YouTube. But from there, just like I pulled up to a couple like events because like when I started really filming was like 2016. The underground stuff was really coming around with like the shows and all that. So I was shooting some clips from that and just throwing it together in like Final Cut and like Sony Vegas at the time too. And like I got more and more into it, had fun with it, and it just kind of grew into something that other people wanted me to like, yo, shoot like a recap. Hey, do a music video. Hey, let's work on some things, and it just kind of grew into what it is now. So.
Okay, and what is it now? Because right now you are on fire out here. Like you're everywhere. Like I know I know both of you are very exclusive. Like for the RB Kickback. Shout out to Along.
Yeah.
Shout out to Echo. Shout out to the New Neighbor. Shout out to the whole gang over there. I know you guys are definitely infamous in there, but like there's a lot of people who I don't want to. They not envy. That's not the word I was thinking about. But like admire you guys. Like I know everywhere. If I say I know Shaun somewhere, people like 21. I'll be like, yeah, you don't know him, like, and they don't understand that a lot of people just see like the face value, like they see what you show on social media, and same for you. Like, what can you tell them, like people who support you or want to be like you, like what can you tell them, like how you got to this level, and not only how you got to this level, but what you need to do to stay here?
I mean, for me, it's been I'm a person that likes to create, so I've always just had that in me. I used to draw, made music, and I just got to a point like a couple years ago, just like, how can I implement all these different things that I'm drawn to and put into my work? So it's like I enjoy fashion, so I'm out here doing Fashion Week. If I like music, I'm gonna go to concerts to capture that, and just put my own perspective on it for people who have the same vibe. Like, yo, this would be cool if I missed a show, what would it be like? Here's some photos, here's like a recap, so you can feel like you were in the moment. So my whole thing is just kind of like taking moments and creating them in a way that resonate with people, and they can just come back and just like, yo, I felt that. Like, I felt like I was there, or I drew something from that. So whether it's like a concert, portraits, or more of like my artistic stuff, it's just something that resonates. So
A Timeless Summer, that recap you gave me is still one of my, just the music selection, how you had, like, I don't know where you got that song from, but I'd be bopping to that song. You might have to send me. You might have to send me that, and then also just like how you caught everyone in action with it. It was like the song would be playing, but it wasn't. But that shit was fire.
And so just like I just pick up on things from different things that like life moments, like movies, things like that. And to get to that point, it's just like you got to just learn yourself, learn what resonates with you, and just kind of get to a point where you tune out people, tune out any people's like comments, like their opinions. Just do what you want to do.
Right.
Because for a while, it was like you first starting out, it's like, yo, I gotta shoot like this. I can only post this stuff on my timeline, or else people are gonna feel some type of way. And it's like, no, just you gotta.
That's one thing I respect about you too. I meant to say that, like, especially like on Twitter, your voice is very like influential because you don't stick to the norm. Like, a lot of people might gravitate towards one thing, but if you honestly don't truly believe in it, you'll speak it, but you'll speak it with facts. A lot of people, they pick and choose, like, oh, most of my friends like this, or most of my, so I'm gonna go this way. Where you kind of like, if you fuck with it, you fuck with it. But if you don't, and I'll be looking like, I fuck with that.
You gotta just be on your own, because you'll come to a certain crossroads in life where it's just like you gotta just figure it out yourself. This is you yourself. You gotta, like, yo, this is what I need to do, what I need to do to get to where I want to be at.
Right.
No one's gonna help you. The people are gonna look out, but it's like you gotta put the effort in. If you're not putting in any effort, people aren't gonna want to invest any time, resource, or anything like that. It's like when we, like, on the timeline, for instance, you'll see like that support conversation a lot. It's like every year you see it, and every year you see who actually took it, and just like, man, just do the work. And the people who are still there just having the same conversation.
And you know, it's crazy. I still remember that conversation we had. I don't remember what the fuck we was at.
Was it South by?
Nope. Or this was before South by.
Before South by.
Yeah, we had a conversation. It might have been at your house.
Word.
Or it might have been somewhere else where we were shooting, but you were saying that.
Over by, I think it was like the old projects or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we just was having for some reason, like, I always just have like really insightful conversations, which is a good thing with people that, like, feel me. And he was just like, yo, like, you are this, you're important. He was like, fuck what everyone else thinks, fuck the support you get from everybody else, whatever case, just keep doing it for you. And I swear to God, like, I swear to God, I listened to it, and since then, I just been on my own accord. Like, I support everybody, but I always just focus on what I have to do, because the moment that I started realizing, like, oh, this person don't support me or that person don't support me, I started putting myself in a slump, and in turn, that shit was fucking up my energy for the culture in general. You get what I'm saying? And I think that was a big lesson I had to learn, because I always had, like, playing basketball, whatever, I always had a support system of some sort. But for this, it's just, this one is a little mixy. It's weird.
It's weird. It's weird. And if you try to play that game, it'll mess you up.
Yeah. Just stick to yourself.
Yeah, just rock with people who rock with you. Like, you said something about that before. Just like people who show you energy, like show you love, show you energy, you show it right back. Anyone else doesn't matter. Like, fuck them.
Word. Like, so now we talk about my boy Miguel. All right. So I've also known you for a long time. I knew you before you knew me, though. just for like friends around, and when you first started picking up the camera and stuff, I'm like, oh, are he fire, stuff like that. And I don't know, we just got like this bromance. You know what I'm saying? Like we just cool, like on some shit, like for real, like keep it a buck. Like we might not, we might not talk all like every day, but I hit him up like, yo, let's go grab some food, and he'd be like, all right, or let's go do, and he'd be like, all right, you feel me, like shit like that. And I remember you were saying that your birthday was coming up and you want to go Rolling Loud. And I'm like, yo, that shit sounds fire. It's in Miami. Let's do it. You already had the Airbnb booked up and shit. I'm like, all right, cool. We go there. We chilling. We went after we saw a lot of shit. We went out to eat a couple times. You know, that's where you met your lady. Oh, I was there before y'all was an item. Fuck out of here. Exclusive drop. But and you got high with me and Ike.
I got high, yeah.
That was a good time, yo. For the record, y'all, he was wilding.
What was I doing? I wasn't even wilding.
He was sending us his SoundCloud link. Wow. He was trying to rap, bro. He was like, hey, yo, get some beats, bro. Wow.
Real talk. Wow. But I just I want you to talk about your experiences. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, one thing I definitely want to talk to you about is you were able to shoot one of my idols, which is Nipsey Hussle. And for the record, I'm not one of you regular Nipsey Hussle fans. Like, I've known Nipsey Hussle since Bullets Ain't Got No Names, Volume 1. When he, feel me, like, back, like, when I used to live in California type shit. A lot of y'all like him now, which is good. Keep supporting, but I've been a fan since before that. You feel me? So I just want to talk about your journey, because I feel like your journey is a little different than everybody's. Like, you kind of stick to yourself, you do your own thing, you book your own stuff, like, and you really don't give a fuck about who supports you from who don't. So yeah, I want to talk about that for you.
Well, like, as far as like the support thing, like, it's important. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I support everybody.
Right.
But you kind of expect the same thing in return, you know what I'm saying? But you notice when it's not the same, you know what I mean? Right. When you're not getting it back. So yeah, like he was saying, like, yeah, I said that. I know I tweeted it a million times probably. Like, you basically gonna get from me what I'm getting from you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you not showing love, like, I'm gonna reciprocate that. Like, you know, I ain't gonna hate on you or talk shit about you, none of that. But I'm just gonna, you know, do me accordingly, like, you know what I mean, like, handle the situation like that. So yeah, so like I was mentioning, like I was saying earlier, like, I do a lot of magazine work for the most part. My publication is decent size. You know what I mean? I started from the bottom just like everybody else though. Like, I started in Toad's Place. Yeah, so I built my portfolio from there. You know what I'm saying? I also knew Big Mike. Like, Big Mike was my man's way back. You know what I mean? It was made it easier. So I remember I just bought a ticket off of him for one of these shows. I believe it was actually Miguel. And this is the one where, you know, all that shit went down. Like, you know, some people died and stuff. But he was like, yeah, like, I got a photo pit, like, yada, yada, yada. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, you could come through. But it's, like we were saying, it's pros and cons. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I got there, it was no issue at first. I'm literally in the pit the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have to be there early because I got to get my credentials. Once a certain time hit, Big Mike is nowhere to be found. You know what I'm saying? Just like he said, he was hitting his phone outside of Toes. He don't pick up. He don't text back. You know what I'm saying? He busy though. You know what I mean? So you got to catch him early. He gave me my wristband, and this was my first shoot for a magazine. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm shooting just to contribute to a magazine or whatever. And I got nervous because right when Meek Mill was about to come out, they kicked everybody out. And they were like filled it up. They filled up the pit with like random people. Random people like that are just standing there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know who they were, but now the whole building filled up. I have to find me a spot to shoot from. I can't shoot from all the way back in the thing and expect me to get decent photos or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, my boy was with me, and I was able to like kind of just squeeze in with him. He was in the front, but he was like off to the side. Just try to get what I could get from the side. It
you
worked
got a
out.
fire shot though.
I got some. You know what I'm saying? I was able to make it work. But like that's the kind of bullshit you got to deal with when you got a pass. It's like, you know, when you don't have a pass, you kind of just like could sneak in, just get as close as you can. You stay low key till, you know, till the show start or till you want to shoot something.
Right.
But, you know, you gotta pass for the pit. Like, you never know if you get kicked out. I don't really deal with that as much no more, but it still happens to this day. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's gonna be a forever thing. Like, I think one thing we have to get out of our minds is the higher level you get. Obviously, the higher you get, reputation wise and notoriety, the easier it's gonna be. But you're always gonna catch something where it's like
it's always some bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
it's always like
whether it's small or big, like it's always something.
You feel me? And I feel like that's a problem for a lot of people. Like a lot of people feel like when they get noticed and they get like the clout or the followers, whatever, that's when they're supposed to slow down. No, that's when you're supposed to accelerate. And I feel like that's the difference between a creative that really understands and a creative that doesn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you call yourself a creative, you call yourself someone that's for the culture, whatever, I by all means do that. But there's some people that say that and they don't really live by it, and that's the reason why our culture is in such a crisis now. Like, we'll talk about that. That was just a bird walk. I'm sorry.
No, you're right though.
Yeah.
So yeah, like consistency is everything.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You could tell the difference. Like, when it's a slump, if it's like a month with like no shows, like a little show here and there, like you could see like, you know, your followers are drop. People start watching your stories and stuff. Like, you just becoming more relevant when you stay consistent. Like, people still with you. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell, like, you know, when festival season come around and stuff, when we shooting those, like, we got pictures for months because you done shot so many people in one day or over the course of a weekend. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then, like, when the wintertime comes and stuff, it slow down a little bit. So like, if you're not hitting everything, like,
do you feel like decrease? Do you feel like that's an issue though? Like the fact that you said that you get some support when you're hot, but then when you kind of fall down, it like dwindles and then it comes right back up. Like, do you feel like there's a problem?
I don't know if it's a problem. You just, like I said, you could tell. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It'll bother you. Like, you know what I mean? It's not their fault that you're inconsistent. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh. Say that one more time.
It's not their fault that you're inconsistent.
That is a gem, though. Is that not on some real shit? Because I remember, like, sometimes I don't know if you guys do this, but I will definitely beat myself up a lot. Like, it's like mentally about like things I could have done better or like the people I thought that fucked with me that don't or stuff like that. And, you know, for the life of me, I always had to I had to kind of remove myself because once I get into that mode, it's hard for me to get out of it because all my mind does is think about that shit. So like, you're right, like, but it's not their fault though. Like, if I'm inconsistent, if I'm not providing things for you to be entertained, because we are in entertainment, then it's no one's fault but my own while you're not catching on to what I'm doing. And then when I do produce something, so like, prime example, this podcast right here, I had a podcast for 2 years running. We was at around the 2-year mark, we was definitely picking up steam and we kind of put it to rest. This one that's gonna come back out now, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people, if anyone pays attention to what it looks like, how it's going to be, if it's going to be consistent and stuff like that. So that's why I'm really trying to make sure this one is better than the last one because, you know, like, I don't want to let the people down. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You're right. That, but
yeah, so like sometimes stuff will like prevent you from being like how consistent you want to be, or, you know, sometimes you got to travel around, but you don't got the schedule for it or something. Like, you know, things like that. People don't really know the backstory, but at the same time, like, nobody really cares. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Get it done.
Yeah, you got to, like, you either going to do it or you not. You know what I'm saying? If you can't, it's cool. Like, don't stop. You know what I'm saying? But just know, like, you know, if it seems like they're not fucking with you, it's not because they're not fucking with you. It's just because, like, you just pop back up out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like that.
Can you tell us about how you landed the Nipsey Hussle shoot?
Yeah, so the publication I shoot for now, Respect Magazine, like they're low key, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? And that's because like they've been around for a long time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They used to like rival like Double XL and stuff. They used to come out with printed issues like every month. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It just died off a little bit, I guess, but like it's still around. Like it's still a verified account on Twitter. Like you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So we still do digital covers. We still do printed covers. Like the last printed cover was the Migos, but things happen. Like you know, we getting another one soon. But right now we still do digital digital covers. Digital like stories and stuff on the artist, and this one was for Victory Lap. You know, his album had just came out. They actually set that up. You know what I'm saying? Like at that time, I was involved like a lot, you know, but not to the point where I knew like the inside stuff or I could really have a say in what we was doing. They just hit me randomly one day, like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? We got to shoot in New York with Nipsey. Like, you interested? Like what? So we pulled up.
Kind of question?
Yeah, like so we pulled up. This was like my first time working with an artist, like, you know, like one-on-one. It was cool as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was in the studio with him. We listened to the album. You know, he went in the booth. You know, he just like he wasn't like really spitting nothing new. He just was like, you know, going over his own lyrics like from the album as it played like in the other room. You know what I'm saying? I just was doing my thing, like just shooting around while he was doing that. And yeah, so that was like the cover story, like the cover, you know, for that month or whatever. It ended up coming like a month after. Yeah. So we made it more like since it ended up being the month after the album release, we made it more like we let it marinate for a month type shit. You know what I'm saying? And then like this is what we think about it now. This is why this shit is important. Right. And stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, I got a photo over here. So let me
see that joint.
Right here. Yeah.
Oh, this is icy.
So yeah, he was cool as hell too. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could hear the like the intelligence. You know what I'm saying? People, I think that's why people really like him, because you know where he from and stuff. Like you don't really expect that kind of stuff from people, but like, he's so smart. You know what I'm saying? It just was like easy to work with him, easy to talk to him. Like you learn stuff just by listening and like overhearing what they talking about. Like yeah, like this shit.
So can we talk about that? Can we talk about the do's and don'ts about being in the studio with like known people? So like clearly you're not about to run and be like, oh, Nipsey, I'm the biggest fan. But like some people who are trying to be, you know, great at this, whether it's photography or whatever their calling is, they'll blackball themselves from the beginning just because they don't know how to act around like certain people. Can you guys give some like tips on like what to do and what not to do?
Don't be a groupie.
Yeah, chill on the IG.
Yeah, chill on the IG.
Chill on the IG shit. Just like act like you're supposed to be there, because it's like you guys really just going back to being present, really. Right. Because you don't if you having your phone, what's that gonna? What are you trying to prove? Right. Like, what are you just trying to show off? Or are you there to work? You there to just like flex and be a groupie?
Yeah. You go back to like treating them like as a regular person too. Like you don't want to just run up and shove a camera in their face. Like, introduce yourself. You know,
have respect.
Yeah. They humans.
Right.
We assume because they so famous and known that like, you know, they gonna act a certain way or they are a certain way, but they really not. Like they just like us. They regular people. A lot of them like talking about regular shit. Like they don't even want to talk about what they got going on in their life. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, music is a job. That shit stress them out too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They want to talk about some shit like
whatever.
Yeah, like
something that don't got nothing to do with music.
Nothing. Like they want to have a regular exactly. Exactly. Like they want to have a regular conversation. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's really important to preach that we have to treat them as regular people. Like yes, we appreciate the music and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, they are humans. Like, don't nobody want a camera in their phone in their face 24/7. Like, yo, can I get a picture with you? Right. Yo, can I? And no one. And they also don't want people always asking to collab on some shit. Like, I know there's a time and place for everything. You feel what I'm saying? I always call it like the 3-time rule. So like the first time, introduce yourself. The second time, introduce yourself again. The third time, then that could. So like for instance, like Wayno, right? So like when he was managing Dave East, like that was like I did a whole like research project on him, and I met him one time at a show. He was cool. I said, "What's up?" Like I was like, "Yo, this is dope." Whatever. He was like, "Cool." I met him another time, and then after that, the third time I met him, I went to it was a company being launched in New York, and East was performing, and then they went downstairs, and I was with Bria, and she was able to finesse me past the security guard. So we went down there, and literally it was just them downstairs by themselves, whatever. And he walked by, and he noticed us sitting there. He came over and he talked to us, and like on some shit, he was like, "Yeah, I remember you from somewhere, whatever." I was like, "Yeah, I've been at a couple of events that you've been at and stuff like that." And I feel like if God wants it to happen, it's gonna happen. Like not even on some religion shit, but just really truly like if it's meant to be, it's gonna be. Like you feel what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna get placed in a situation that you don't know how to get yourself out of. You know what I'm saying? So rather than being a groupie, like I said, just play your cards right, and I think everything will like manifest in itself for you. You know what I'm saying? Question I have for you guys is the state of the culture that we live in now. How do you feel like it's going? What do you think about it? Are you with it? Are you against it?
We talking about like hip hop culture?
Yeah.
Just
I can't even say hip hop culture because I feel like we embody culture in its entirety. Like from clothes to music to what we eat to what we listen, like to what we wear, stuff like that. That all is hip hop, of course. But at the same time, that's just I think just the urban culture, like community in a sense. Like I feel like there's a lot of shit going on that we are allowing and accepting, and I feel like we should not be in a sense. So I kind of want to get your perspective on it. Like I'll talk first for me personally. I don't like all this like this over abusive drug use shit. Like you know what I'm saying? Like like it's no fault to him, but we were talking about earlier. It's like famous Dex falling asleep on his IG live. Like I don't know how much followers he had at the time and how much people were viewing, but there's some people there that think that's cool now. So now you just open up a whole nother lane of fuck up that we have to try to fix. Not to mention, it's not like we have like the support of the country on our side. You know what I'm saying? Like we how can I say this? We definitely integrate and we are used and manipulated in a whole bunch of different facets, whether from like the white community to clothing brands and stuff like that. But we don't have a grab or a hold on to our own shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we doing to actually gain some like type of like upper hand?
I feel like we at a crossroads. Just like there's a lot of good things going on, and then there's a lot of fuck shit going on.
Right.
Like people just abusing. It's like the people who are abusing things. It's like there's some people that are out here trying to be on some like, yo, I sip lean every day, blah blah blah. And there's people who are just like, I'm stuck sipping lean because this is a product of my environment, whatever have you. But it's like we're getting set up because it's like these places are coming to find artists from like rough areas, like Melly, for example. You're finding people from like real shit.
Yeah.
Giving them money, throwing a camera in their face and saying, yo, keep doing that shit. But instead of like, but keep doing that real shit, but put the theatrics on it.
Yeah.
And it's like those lines blur for a lot of these people because you're giving them a lot of things really quick. They're not getting sat down. Like even Offset had an interview recently saying like, yo, I got out of jail. I'm in front of the lights. I'm doing all this. Like Coach Q never, like people never sat me down and talked to me and let me know like this is how you're supposed to move. Like you just getting thrown in it. And there's a lot of people like, especially now, everything's quick.
Yeah.
Like you saw that whole SoundCloud era. People just, you literally drop a song. Next thing you know, you getting a deal because people want that money and you getting that bread. They're not telling you that you got to pay it back. And then your whole life is changing and like that. You're getting access to all these drugs. Like, and it happens to artists from all over the tiers. Like, even like Isaiah Rashad.
Yeah.
Like he had a delay because he's getting wrapped up in the vices. So it's like, while you have people doing good things, you have people getting caught up in the vices because it's like they don't know the other way. And it's like they're trying to separate those two things. So we just have like black, white. You don't have like a spot where they can match and people just like, yo, you can come away from that. There's ways out of that. It's just like, nah, you either end up in this spot or by chance, if you stuck there, you stuck there. So
just to piggyback off of that. So do you feel like the I call them key holders. So like, for instance, like the Jay-Z's, the Meek Mills now. Who else? Throw some names out. Who else would y'all say?
J. Cole.
J. Cole,
Kendrick.
Do you feel like they're doing their just due as far as trying to, or do you feel like their just due is continue doing what they're doing and everyone else catch on?
I mean, what's the expectation for them to do? Because you can't expect them to
Do everything.
Like people gotta be accountable for themselves as well.
Right.
Yeah, they gotta
Like,
want to be able to.
Yeah.
Like
stop
end of the
doing
day,
that
it's like when you get to that level, it's like you're all businesses.
Right.
So if your business is failing because you want to do coke or just to do whatever, then that's on you. They can only help you for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But if messing with you is a bad look, then it's a dub.
Right.
I think Jay-Z's doing
The best he can.
Yeah. As far as like, situations that mean something, like with the 21 Savage situation,
With the
Meek situation, like De La Soul situation recently too.
I mean, De La Soul.
I guess there was in a bad deal with like Tommy Boy, something like that, or the record label was getting like 90% of the income.
Wow,
90%.
Wow.
So Tidal decided not to stream it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Jay-Z's doing a good job of stepping up in situations like that.
He's also him and Meek did the Reform.
Yeah, the Reform.
And that's fire. I've been keeping a tab on that. I really want to look into that because, like, I feel like this is what I honestly feel like. I feel like there's a board of white people, and they like, yo, this is what's hot. This is what's hot. This is what's hot, and this is what's hot. Let's find everybody that's and all the shit that's hot is all negative shit. But let's find the people that's doing the worst shit, like the Boom Gang dude. Like, let's find people like that and let's make them famous.
That's the shit that we've been conditioned to know.
Social
see
media.
that sells.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, negativity.
Exactly.
Negativity. People are attracted to that.
Yeah,
for some reason.
I don't know, man.
I mean, but you are seeing people like step up, like Jay-Z, Kendrick.
But that's even sad that when I just try to mention a couple of people, the only person I could think of on top of my head was Jay-Z and Meek Mill. It's just like, it's sad for me because, one, I have bad memory. Let's put that out there first. But two, it's just like, damn, like, those are already the go-to people. So who else is? Because
you can put Nipsey in there too.
You can put Nipsey in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, hell yeah. But what happens when one day just can't anymore? Or what if they just all was like, yo, I'm just done with this shit? What happens then?
Nothing.
I mean, I think they all got people under them.
I say nothing because, again, like the people doing the shit got to be accountable for themselves.
Right.
And whether whoever's saying something to them says it or not, like they gonna do what they want at the end of the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? J. Cole had a whole interview with Lil Pump.
Yeah.
Lil Pump still talk about drugs and shit like every chance he get. Like whether I don't even know if he doing it or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't really know.
Right.
But, that's just on him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What you want to say, Shaun?
Now, I was saying that like people like J. Cole, Jay-Z, I mean, they have people under them, that could carry the torch too. Because I know J. Cole got Dreamville, and there's a lot of good people under that label too. That's still building up their career that could possibly take the torch and lead by example in the future too. So it's always good people that got good people around them. So
It's like a common trait between all those people too. Like they're all artists that know themselves and know their responsibility as an artist. So it's like a lot of these other artists don't know what they're just confused. They just out here trying to appease people. They're not trying to build a legacy.
Right.
So even like as much as I love Ye, like Ye's falling into a spot where it's like you don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to. He thinks he's trying to build a legacy, but then he's trying to appease other people who don't really matter. Right. And just like you see what happens when you don't know yourself at a certain point. You let the pressures all just crush you. And as you go higher, the pressure's only higher. So.
All right. So we're gonna switch up because we about to get ready to wrap up. But one question I have for Shaun, winning the Power Player of the Year award. Shout out to the Power Bunch of CT. Clap it up again. Shout out to the people, beautiful people. Tia, Ashley did their thing this year for sure. Shout out to Karen Civil for coming through. How does it feel to? Because honestly, Tia, Ashley, I'm coming for that shit. I definitely want my Power Player of the Year award at some point. But
nah, we need a girl to win it next year.
Nah, I'm not. I don't gotta win next year either. You right, because there are a lot of people.
I think three males winning now so far.
Well, it was you, Splash, and who else?
I think Anthony won
the first year.
Oh yeah, shout out to Ant. Shout out to my boy Ant. That's right. Yeah, but like, what do you feel? I feel like them starting the power brunch and also starting like a power play of the year, I feel like that puts like not pressure, but definitely makes you want to like be better. So like, what was it like when you got that reward?
It was pretty. It was definitely. I definitely didn't expect it at all.
What? You've been wilding this year. Are you crazy? Okay, continue.
Nah, but I definitely didn't expect it for sure. So it was definitely not overwhelming, but definitely appreciated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
T is definitely somebody who saw me like working hard firsthand. We do a lot of shows together sometimes, so it's definitely a blessing to just not go unnoticed and stuff like that. So,
right. Okay. What's next for y'all?
Finessing.
Finessing and flexing. Finessing and flexing.
It's either a pass or finessing.
Word. Yes. All right. Anything? All right. So before we wrap up, I wanna, like I told y'all the last episode, I left the viewers with some homework. I kind of want to leave somebody with something because we did touch on some things as far as like do's and don'ts and how to kind of get your way into the field and stuff like that. But from a photographer or videographer standpoint, is there anything that you would recommend for anyone that's looking to become the next Shaun or Ike or Miguel or themselves? Or is there anything that you would leave for them to like research or develop or gather anything?
I don't want anybody to research anything, but just go to a show. Just go. Right. Bring your camera. Just try something.
Right. Try some new shit.
Go to Toads. Go to Oakdale. I don't care where you go. Just go somewhere. Yeah. And just see how security works. Right. See how see how a show works. Right.
Anything?
Probably just challenge people to really like step up and just emulate the results they want to see.
Gotcha.
So they want to be at a certain level, they gotta act like it, and they gotta like actually do the things to get there, and not like just sit there, just put a title on it, and just sit there looking dumb.
Gotcha.
So
makes
just shoot everything. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. Like go take a walk down the street. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Right. Hit YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTube is
tutorial.
Like, yeah, YouTube, the Bible. Like, there's nothing you can't find on YouTube.
University.
Yeah, like you learn everything you want to learn on YouTube. Like,
get a 4-year degree out there, man.
Yeah, for real. So, yeah, just hit YouTube. That's it. Like,
all right. Well, first I want to, thank y'all for stopping by. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all dropping the gems and definitely being a part of. Like, I feel like this could be a great legacy. Rejuv-Nation is definitely something that I want here to stay and to build. I definitely want to shout out, if y'all want to send any shout outs or definitely IG names, shout outs and IG names.
My shit hard, man.
You need to change your shit.
I wish I could take the underscores out, but somebody already took that.
All right, so
slide them
underscore cold COLD underscore as underscore ice with a 3 IC3 underscore.
IKE ABAKAH Abakah.
Yeah, mine is my name, so Shaun Llewellyn underscore. So it's ShaunLlewellyn underscore.
Yo, we were just in here and someone said your last name wrong. I'm like, it's definitely Llewellyn. And there's like, how you spell that? And I'm like, yo, LLEWLYN. I'm like, but
it's hard to spell.
Yeah, so but before we go, I definitely want to say shout out to my team, shout out to Rejuv-Nation first and foremost, shout out to The Breed, shout out to DMTS Radio, shout out to all my guys. If you see this, shout out to my guy by Owen Newen. Gotta come back with some new merch, man.
And Shavoy, man. That's a collab, man.
Oh, and Shavoy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The Corp official.
Shout out to Shavoy.
For real. Shout out to Telecredentials for the gear. If you're watching it, we appreciate you. Please tune in because we're trying to drop these gems. This is not for me. This is for y'all.
Link in bio.
Facts. And you're tuned into the Rejuv-Nation podcast hosted by your boy Thomas Trell, and we are out.